We needed more focus on the real characters that we already knew and loved, and the story that we fell in love with, and solving it once and for all. That's what I
Fucking
think.
tell him,
Anyway,
Hannah.
I love
Fucking tell him.
Dropping the
you guys,
mic.
and I really have enjoyed talking about this. I've been so anxious to like, can I talk to somebody about this?
Right.
And and
Hannah,
hopefully,
quick, real quick before you go, do you believe or no?
Hello and welcome back to Vassals of Kingsgrave for another 2026 edition of VOK. This time covering the Netflix series Stranger Things, which just had a finale on the 31st of...
Or did it?
We'll get there, Michal. That brought this show to an end, question mark. And we around here we've been big fans of Stranger Things over the years, and I think last time we covered it was season 3, which was like 6 years ago, in the before the pandemic and things kind of made things a little less fun. My name is Adam, also known as drownedsnow on the Discord and the forums. They're still there, and some other places on the web. And I am joined by David.
Hello, I'm David HHH on Discord forums and whatever's left.
Kevin.
Hello, I'm Kevin, Nuncle Kevin on the Discord, and I put a ban on referencing anything else besides the Discord.
we have the TikTok and stuff, so who knows. But Michal.
Hello, Michal. I used to be inkasrain on the Discord, I believe, but I think I just changed it to my real name. So
Ooh.
I don't know how to change my name between different Discords. So
yeah, I think you have to pay for that, which is kind of stupid.
I'm not paying for that.
It's
you don't have
the
to pay.
recordings. Your audio still comes out
that.
as inkasrain, according to Craig. So it still exists. And Hannah.
Hey, it's Hannah, the Wingedshadow.
All right, so that's the crew. I don't know if we'll have anyone joining us from the Upside Down in the interim, but let's get started with our rating of. Let's do the finale itself, the final episode, which was probably correctly titled "The Right Side Up," sort of. And then let's do season 5 as a whole. Let's start with the same order, David.
Okay. I thought the finale was great. I'm going to give it a 5. Not perfect, but great. 5 out of 5. And for the season as a whole, between 4 and 4.5. I liked it more than most people seem to have, but we'll get into
fair enough. Yeah, we'll get into it. Kevin, what about you?
I'm going to give the finale a 4.5. I loved like the character stuff that resolved. I fully understand.
Yeah.
That was not like Star Wars: A New Hope, like planning out a final battle very well. But I mean, that's not really what I would take away from that kind of finale, anyways.
Right.
And then the 3.5 for the season. Just kind of most of the season felt pretty stuck in mud and like obvious the direction things were going.
What about you, Michal?
Maybe a 3 all around, honestly. There were definite high points for sure, but overall, I felt like I was watching a dumbed down version of Stranger Things. And I didn't appreciate that. There were multiple times when I was just on my phone and I didn't miss anything. So that's not really a positive. But I overall, it's been a great adventure, and let's stop getting on these poor children who are no longer children because they grew up. Because I feel like that's got to be very psychologically damaging for the entire world to be like, you got old and you're 21. So.
Right.
Yeah, I do think that aspect specifically is a little odd because we've been watching these kids. It's not like they cast like a 30-year-old to play a 15-year-old. Like, if you look at the flashback scenes in the finale, you're like, oh shit, they were really young. It's just been a long time. So it's okay.
Yep.
It's like, if people were upset by that, I don't know. They're just looking for something.
I mean, look, it's notable. I don't think people are like evil to point it out. It's just like
it took a while to get this done. I get it, yeah. And thankfully none of them got like super awkward when they grew up, or like, they all kind of did okay, other than Will's actor can't really act. But anyway, what do you think, Hannah?
I'm gonna give the finale, and I'm being generous with, I'll give it like a 3.9. And the whole season overall, standalone by itself, I would maybe give it like a 3.5. In comparison to all 4 of the other seasons as a collective and as individual seasons, I would give it like a 2.5. It honestly felt like I was watching a different show in some parts. And I know that it must have suffered from the pandemic and the strikes and, contract things. And, they are getting older and they have lives. And then there's fatigue internally, I'm sure, just like we saw with Game of Thrones. So, I mean, I get there's some complicating factors, but I don't think that they ended up telling the story that they set out to tell. In fact, there were certain interviews that the Duffer Brothers had early on, and even as recently as 2020, 2021, where they, made assertions and said, this is how it's going to be. Then it ended up being somewhat like the total opposite of that. Yeah, I not for the stupid reasons that everyone else is griping about on the internet. I have like real criticisms about the storytelling, and the like Michal said, it's like I know second screen syndrome is like something that a lot of Netflix especially does this, but a lot of studios are doing now, where they assume people are going to be scrolling on their phone as well. So they do dumb it down to make sure you can keep up with it. But it's like, why punish the intellectuals because other people want to do that and not pay attention? Like, because I do that too sometimes. Like, I'm rewatching Westworld right now and I'm playing solitaire split screen in my phone. But when something like crazy happens, I rewind it and I go back and like sit and watch it again. Missed it. So please don't punish the rest of us for, knuckleheads that want to do that. Like, why pander to them? They're not the ones that have the high paying jobs enough to buy them the merch anyway. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. I just it just didn't.
I get what you're saying, and I think
slow, and like they were doing too much and not enough all at the same time.
Yeah, I think rewatching something is a little different, but like this is like a cultural phenomenon, probably one of the most popular shows of the last 10 years. I mean, this is on par with like your Game of Thrones, like everybody knows Stranger Things, like casual people at work, like, oh yeah, man, Stranger Things. You don't get that with a lot of shows, so I feel like they would expect people to be paying attention.
Yeah, I feel like it gets an even wider audience than GOT because it doesn't have the same kind of violence and nudity, and
it's more family friendly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can sit down and watch this with the kids.
In defense of the show, I will say that leading up to the season premiere of 5, I did go back and rewatch the entire series, like throughout, October and November, and
it's so good.
There were things in season 2 and 3 that I didn't care for when I initially watched them, that on this rewatch, I found myself appreciating more. So possibly some of my things with this season that I didn't care for will age well with me the way that has. I just don't see it right now.
Yeah, and to be fair, like we didn't talk about season 4, but as a Vok, but season 4 may be one of the best seasons of television ever made. I mean, I think all 4 previous seasons were very good in my opinion. I would give the finale a solid 4. because at the end of the day, I really did enjoy it, and I kind of like what they did, breaking it off, having the theatrical release. They gave it the space it needed. Um, the season as a whole, I think I would give a 2.5, honestly. And it's really weird because the first 4 episodes they released, at the end of that, when you get that moment, the reveal of Will like controlling all the Demogorgons, and like I was fucking hyped as shit. Like I like the first couple episodes, like I said, it was a bit slow, but like we got to that, and I was like, oh no, more. And I think splitting it kind of hurt. Like the like
Agreed.
I don't know, it took away a lot of the tension,
Mm-hmm.
and then when we get to the end, and it's like, oh, we're rushing again. Well, then you got to wait a week or whatever to see the
Right.
finale. That wasn't great. But I think because of kind of the way the back half, the last 3 episodes before the finale went, like that really kind of drained a lot of my enthusiasm. And it's interesting, only the first 2 episodes and the last 2 episodes of the season were actually written by the Duffer Brothers. So, which I mean, they've had other people writing the show the whole time, but that's usually about how they do it. They write the um the openers and the finales. But
I think it's also like they just couldn't match like the end. I was very skeptical about Volume 1 while I was watching it, and I was cheering and clapping and like go Willing, even though I'd been making fun of his acting the whole time. At the end, but that's like the undisputable high point of the season, dramatically, emotionally, like cool wise. Like they never hit that high again. So to like
Correct.
come out of that and just have the rest of it
the
be
Sorcerer
kind of all
episode,
downhill, it's like,
Yeah.
all right.
yeah, and I mean,
to your
that
point,
episode also had everything. You had Vecna, you had the military, you had the Demogorgon, you had like all of the elements that we
Right.
were expecting, like in a showdown, show up right there, and it was like, oh, well, actually, because the reveal in that 4th episode was. What was it? They thought the whole time the military had captured Vecna and were holding them in that facility in the
Right.
Upside Down, which I was like, where did they get that from? Where are we thinking that? And I'm like, okay, so that's weird because like that sort of explains like that maybe the Demogorgons are like working on some plan to free him because he can barely get his influence out to them or something. And then it's revealed like, no, bro's been free the whole time. He's not
Right.
in the Upside Down, like, and he just shows up and like wrecks shit. Which I thought was just fucking badass. And I mean, to say, we talked about like Will's actor's not that great, which like he doesn't get that many scenes, and it's fine. Like he was a kid,
His
but
face acting, I think, is good. It's when he talks.
Mhm.
yeah, he's gotten better, and that haircut they give him, poor kid. But I mean, some of their hair is just like I mean, it's the 80s. It's that's what you expect.
Right.
But Vecna's actor, like, oh my gosh, like this
So
whole
good.
season, and I mean last
Yeah.
season as well, but
Yeah.
just excellent, absolutely.
Whether he's Vecna
excellent.
or Henry,
Yes.
he's really good.
Right.
Why are Swedes like the chosen people to terrify children these days? To terrify Finn Wolfhard specifically. Like what is happening with that?
Yeah, I think so. This is like a little bit of a crossover, but I think I posted it in like the "What are you watching?" chat at one point during one of the episodes. Like people were like, "Oh, like look at how these kids are doing my girl Holly." He's like, "All right, we got to get Pennywise up in here to wreck this shit." Like, and like the comment was like, "Alexa, play a smile and a ribbon." I was just laughing.
So Adam, to your point about sorry, I just had it in my brain and then it went. Your point about the Duffer Brothers like not writing every episode, but how they never hit that high again. That's one of the things I was referencing. Like as far as interviews that they gave, they said like season 5 is just gonna hit the ground running and explode out of the gate, and because we don't have time for anything else.
Right.
And instead, it's like, oh, there's a Band-Aid on this, and it sucked all the air of the. It renders like the cliffhanger at the end of season 4 totally unnecessary, thoroughly useless.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Why do that to
Yeah.
us for years at a time? Like, why would you do that if you weren't going to stay at that level and that pace? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I also didn't realize at first watching this, like when at one point when they were talking about how Max had been in the coma for like 2 years, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
we
I mean,
really like jumped some
Right.
shit.
and I could see like because of all the delays where they were maybe reworked some stuff to go back and do like a time lapse. That's fine. It's not the time that bothered me. It was the lack of give a fucks. Like everyone in the town is just like, oh yeah, we're just tiptoeing around the freaking militaries in our town. Not
Yeah,
we're
and
like we're
somehow
acting
no
like it's
one realizes any of this. Like they're able to
yeah.
cover it up. Like, oh, that's the biggest part that we'll get to that doesn't make sense to me is like 11's potential sacrifice. The whole point was like, well, if I'm gone, they'll just leave you alone. And I'm like, no, they're gonna throw all of these people in a black site forever. They're
Right.
gone.
Right.
Right.
Like, what do you mean Hopper's the chief
Okay,
again?
but
Like,
after they graduate high school.
right. And I think they did have to do like the little time jump mostly just because the cast had aged, which I get and it's fine.
Like a more, the energy of the crawl should have been like the first thing we saw, like, and it should have been more tense, and the energy was so low. It was like they took Valium and Quaaludes and then wrote the
Right. Well, then
episode.
let's get to like one of the more controversial scenes of the season because I mean I feel like we
Just
got to
one
talk
thing
about it.
I want to say, like I felt very much, and I feel like this is pretty consistent, certainly in the first volume and through most of the second volume. You can ignore what's happening in like the first like 40 to 50 minutes of each episode, and then the good stuff starts to happen. Like the end points are usually pretty banger, and they do make me go like, okay, fine, next episode. But then I'm just bored again until, they ramp up.
Well,
and that is a massive issue in storytelling. Like, you should not have this long of a runtime and it be flabby, but also at the same time not addressing certain things that we want like to see addressed. So
But the in between stuff is where they're trying to like get the character work done,
Right. Exactly.
which didn't really always work because of the circumstances of the season, and I think that's why the finale holds. I mean, I think pretty well to me because it did work at the end for me.
Right.
But there's
I think it
scenes
took
that like
time to get them there.
definitely like the whole
I'm
like
not against character
unproposal
stuff.
thing was like awkward as hell. I mean, I guess they're dying and whatever. I don't know. Like fine. A lot of people didn't like the fact that they like don't stay together. I don't really care about that, but it just was kind of weird. Like their face is about to melt off, and like I don't know. And then like I was about to say, one of the more probably the most controversial quote unquote scene was at the end of episode 7 when like Will comes out. Which I mean, I thought the scene was handled very well, but it's the first time that all the characters have been back in the like one room together. Like Max is awake, so it's like they kind of had to wait to that moment to do it. But also, it was like we're in a hurry. Hey, wait, everyone, quick! Will has to come out. Like I think that the timing was a bit awkward, which people didn't like. And now, obviously, there's people that just were like, "You gave up my Stranger Things," which they're what are you gonna do? Fucking idiots. But I feel like those people would have stopped watching, as soon as, what's her name? Robin, said she didn't like dudes. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I feel like that scene, if it was somewhere else, would have been really good. And it wasn't a bad scene, but
I want to say I want to defend the timing of that, not just because of the gay thing, but because I think it was story-wise relevant in that moment. Like the whole point is that Vecna uses your fears and your insecurities against you, and that's what he's been doing to Will all this time because he's afraid of coming out and being rejected. And in order for him to go into the end game and be able to fight better, he had to let that go in that moment. And that's why I thought it actually worked really well at that moment, because it was necessary then. Like he'd been putting out, because let's face it, anyone who's gay takes forever and puts off coming out because it's scary and you don't want to do it. So at this moment he had to do it, or else he would fuck up the whole thing, and he needs to be doing something now.
You can speak to this better than I can, Dave, obviously.
Yeah.
But like my issue is that given how everyone in the party reacts, like was there any doubt that if during the final battle, Will is like trying to connect, which Will didn't really even do much like to help in the final battle, but whatever.
He saved Elle.
Yeah, I mean, he
Right.
did a little, but I'm just saying it wasn't like what they kind of set up in the mid-season finale.
I agree.
But like, if at some point, like he's like, if there was an army of Demogorgons, which there probably should have been, because where the fuck did they go?
Right.
And like Will is doing battle with them, which would have been fucking epic. And like at some point, like Vecna's like, by the way, he likes men. Like, do you not think everyone in the party would have been like, okay, I'll deal with that later, or like, yeah, we know. Like, do you think it really would, like, for Will it might have been an issue, but it also would have been a moment of like gross acceptance from his friends. Like,
So
I don't know.
I honestly disagree. I agree with David. I think that emotionally it needed to happen. I think there were a couple of problems with it though. One, and I genuinely don't understand why this wasn't there. It feels like such an obvious scene to write. You need to see Will having that vision that Vecna is showing him of his friends rejecting him, and this leading to the death of the party and whatever. Like it's
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like that scene is kind of emblematic to me of like some of the problems with the season, because it's so big and it goes on for so long, and like just what that scene should have been, in my opinion, is not even Joyce and Jonathan, like just Will, obviously, and Will and the party, maybe Max and 11 because they're part of the party, and the idea is about having Will be accepted by the party and whatever. But like Joyce and Jonathan have already expressed to Will that they love and accept him even without those specific words. So to me, that's not like the narrative question. The narrative question is, how is Will going to remain part of the party, and is it going to break under this news?
Like, will his relationship with his friends remain the same?
Exactly. So it should have just been them, and that's also something really they were very bad at as far as like having scenes of just the core characters who we love and have loved watching. And that's part of the reason why the last scene is like sweet and awesome. But it's just like, no, like Will has to be with Robin and Dustin has to be, well, I mean, I actually agree that Dustin should have, I liked his assholeness, even though it was hard to watch, but like, it just put the people together who we want to see together. Don't just like throw things around. It's the last season, like you don't need new dynamics.
I mean, I will say you can't underestimate how crippling the fear of coming out in rejection is. Like people saying like, oh, it should have been obvious that everyone will be okay about it. No one thinks that. I mean, I'll say this, like no gay person like debating coming out thinks everyone's going to be okay about it. Like it's always the worst fear, like who's going to hate me? Who's going to reject me? Am I going to be kicked out of my house?
No, absolutely. And look, thing. I know that like Will does need to come out to Jonathan and Joyce. Like that does need to happen. I'm just saying narratively, I don't think that was the relationship that needed that revelation at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think it's obvious to Will. I think it's obvious to the audience. That's my point. Like it's not like it doesn't feel like it's going to endanger anything.
Let's also remember that this is the audience in 2025, which is admittedly when it was airing. Well,
I agree. You're right. I mean, it's a very different world in the 80s.
Absolutely not, right? The one thing I will say, speaking of it being a different world, and this is, I think, relevant, is that I don't know how that conversation could possibly happen in 1987 without AIDS even coming up. Of course, I can see why they didn't, because that would really derail the whole conversation. Not necessarily in a bad way, but in a like mom going, "I'm so worried about you because you could die and whatever." And I don't know. I don't think you could have really used it in there well, because it would have derailed the whole thing. People already complaining it was too long. I mean, that would have added another few minutes to it. But realistically, there's no way you have that conversation in 1987 in the heart of the AIDS crisis without it even coming up.
I'm trying to think. When was it? Like, because I was born in '84, so you have to tell me. So, like, what year was like AIDS like really big in like the public eye? Because they would have been basically cut off from the world. Well, I'm saying they would have been cut off from the world in 1985.
This is like the
TV,
moment.
Sorry, go on, Kevin. Sorry.
Yeah, this is like the moment in history that it was becoming like massive, and I would say this is like around the time when the narrative kind of began to shift. Like you have, I think Roy Cohen died in '87, and the rumors were out. Rock Hudson had died maybe the year before, so it was really starting to be like a thing that there was starting to be some reckoning with, and kind of change in tides.
I mean, this happened in '87, I believe, and I know the big March on Washington for gay rights was in '87, so an ACT UP was already happening, and things were and the public was talking about it. Everyone was afraid of it, and in people's mind, gay equals AIDS, and it was there's no way that wasn't part of the conversation. I get that it wouldn't have worked in the show, but it just felt weird, especially as someone.
I thought they were cut off from the outside world. That's why.
I mean, wouldn't you have TV or whatever? So,
I thought all they had was a radio station.
It started in 1981.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it really was
a big thing.
I mean, I remember the late '80s and the early '90s, and it was everywhere. I remember that, but I don't. Like I said, I wasn't alive before, so
it was classified as a global pandemic in 1981.
Right,
and
I would say by '87,
GRID is what they called it.
I mean, in '87, there wasn't a day it wasn't in my life. I didn't think about it. It wasn't anytime you talk to someone, you'd be thinking about it. It was so. If you were gay, that's the only thing in your life at that moment.
Absolutely. Where did you live, by the way? What city were you in? Were you in
I was. Let's see. I still hadn't graduated. I was still in high school, but I grew up just south of Boston, but right in the middle of the
So was it kind of like small town, ish?
Not really.
Suburb?
In between. It kind of was, but I went to a private school, so a little different. But yeah.
Okay.
But I was also right near the city of Boston. I was more suburban than anything.
Because I don't know how much this would touch somewhere Hawkins, Indiana. But I mean, I think you are probably right. That'd be my guess. And them not bringing it up might just be the fact that we. Maybe it's just not something we talk about as much anymore now. So they just, I don't know. But apparently, because we were talking about some of the other issues that they could have come up with. Apparently, there was a lot of deleted scenes in the hours of footage that they pulled from this season because they just couldn't fit it. So for instance, having an encounter with Vecna where he showed everyone being oh no, get away from me, maybe that was something they did and they felt it was too much or they didn't want to I don't know.
I definitely on the Will coming out and how it related to Vecna front, I thought we just didn't see very much and the pacing was weird that the first time it happened was this coup and this grand success, and then we didn't see a lot of back and forth. We didn't see I didn't feel like there was a real struggle going on between the two of them very well. There was one scene of a little bit of it, but I would have loved to have seen that play out more. And then it sets up Will to be more of the hero in the end, and that's a cool capstone just because the freaking show starts with him disappearing. But
I agree. That would have been that's where I thought it was going. I mean, I think that's where we all thought it was going, and it would make the kids more significant too. It makes sense of him taking these kids because look what can happen, once they've been influenced. But yeah.
I mean, I think one of the problems they wrote themselves into. Honestly, I think one of the problems they wrote themselves into is that they have so many characters and so much to do, and yet somehow it still felt bloated to a lot of people. I don't think there's any way they could have written themselves out of all of this, given every character their time to shine and to resolve everything without us feeling like there's too much. So then they ended up having to cut things out, which of course, makes things work not so well either. So I don't know how they could have gotten out of it. Sorry.
There's definitely people I don't know why is Murray still in this show? I feel like
we love Murray. He didn't even get an epilogue.
I mean, I feel like that's how this show has always been, though. Every season, we get 5 new characters that we fall in love with, and then they have to give them time that they probably weren't intending to give them.
Yeah.
I mean, they ended up killing a few of them, but
yeah, just give him the old Sam Gamgee. Get rid of him. Anyway, Hannah, you were saying?
So I was just gonna say, my initial reaction to the coming out scene was not. I wasn't bothered by the fact that it came out. And David, what you said has kind of swayed my opinion a little bit. This is my first time getting to talk to anyone about it, and certainly the first friend of mine that's in that community to get their opinion on it. So I appreciate that. I felt like it was, and maybe I'm wrong, but my initial thought was, oh, so he can't just come out on his own for the sake of coming out the way like Robin did and encouraged him to.
Right.
It has to be because of this other thing. It has to be a forcing of his hand. And I don't know how cool that is.
Like Vecna
but
outed him anyway, basically.
right. Like, and then I didn't really get why they didn't have Jonathan be like, well, I already knew and I didn't care. And then have Robin stand up with him and go, yeah, guys, and me too. Like, or be like, yeah, he doesn't like girls, but I do. And like,
I think Robin's
share
kind of
the
the only one that seemed to have a
solidarity.
hint, though, right?
Well, like, it's just, again, like the solidarity of it, like the reassurance of, it would have been cool if even one of the friends said like, oh my God, well, I thought you were going to talk about something real. Like not like real, but like, I thought you were going to say you were dying. Like, that's okay. And have like kind of that lightheartedness instead of, I don't know. It felt not quite the way I would do it. But David, like to your point about like how crippling the fear is, that's something I really hadn't considered, obviously.
Right.
So I guess there is nuance to it, but I will say to Kevin and Mihal's point, I agree with and this was a problem with the entire season, but especially this element of it was all the telling, not showing. The series used to be where we were shown and we were along for the ride, unraveling the mystery with the kids, right alongside them. As they figured it out, we figured it out. And now it's like every other 5 minutes, you've got a big exposition dump where, Community did a bit about this all the time. Like, I've already done everything that needs to be done and everything's fine. Like, and here's it all. I have it. Like, instead of, working through it. And I think it would have been good to see like Vecna and Will actually see that threat made and have Will even say something like, my friends would never do that to me. They're my family. They love me no matter what. Like, try to stand up to him on his own first. And then maybe have that doubt like linger and then say, I'm going to put this to bed once and for all.
I don't know that would have worked in the 80s.
Yeah,
I don't know
think
that
the
would
point
have
is
been
that
true.
he didn't feel that way, and not that he thought anything bad about his friends, but that was just not.
But if you call back to like
common.
what happened with him and Jonathan in series 4, I mean, he didn't say the exact words, but to me, I took it to mean like that is what's happening. Is he's basically saying he's gay, and Jonathan's basically saying, "Yeah, dude, I don't care. I love you. You're my brother."
Right. But again, remember, it's the 80s. It's the 80s, and I don't know if you understand how like completely consuming that fear would be for people. Like, everyone remembers this moment is huge for people, and they do put it off because it's a scary. I mean, don't we all put off the scary moments in our lives? Like, you don't want to find out if that girl really likes you. You don't want to find out if whatever. You have to rip the Band-Aid off. And often, like when you said like that it was forced on him. I think a lot of times people's coming out are forced on them, whether it's someone discovers something or overhears a conversation or whatever. And so to me, it felt right. And I really like the fact that him coming to terms with himself is what made him come to terms with his powers. Like, linking those two things, I think, was really powerful for me, and I really liked it. Yeah. And it made the coming out more important, which is, I think, what a lot of people are angry about. That his coming out wasn't just this little thing; it was important, Well,
because their powers are all in their head, right? So,
right,
I mean,
exactly.
No, you're absolutely right. It makes sense.
Like,
he's got to be in that right frame of mind.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, I just think like Robin got to come out all on her own because it was her choice. And I felt like Will had earned that same chance too as a character. But
that's not entirely true, Hannah. Robin
didn't really come out.
Well, she was on the back end of Truth Serum from the Russians. So they were both kind of like high out of their minds a little bit.
And she, Steve was kind of her confidant. It's not like everyone else necessarily was in on that either. So she's not like out in public, right? So that was part of the plot this season. Her wanting to go out with the nurse. I can't remember her name, but like, hey, I'm going to take you out. We're going to be seen together. So
yeah, I mean, people
which is a
definitely
big
didn't
deal.
know because remember she was worried about was it Mike or Will seeing her, and like she was. I don't think anyone knew except for Steve, you know. And then later
Yeah.
she told Will.
No,
It
I
was
think
fair.
I
she
guess.
says that it's like it's Steve, Vicky, you, and like maybe her mom. She said I don't remember who exactly, but she was like, I'm hoping to like expand that circle slowly.
Yeah.
So it's very clear this is also like, you know, not something that she's putting on Front Street.
It felt very organic. I mean, for the time, or even for today, like people, you know, everybody has their different times. But back then, like a lot of people didn't know a gay person, or at least that they knew of, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
it's not like
I mean,
today.
that's
Like
what
we
AIDS
all have
did.
gay people in our lives, so you know,
Right.
back then you just
Yeah.
didn't know it.
Some of us more than others.
Go ahead.
Heyo.
Sorry, just thought maybe I could talk about this subject.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Jesus, no, as someone that came out later and who grew up in a conservative environment and in a place that it is, I don't want to compare it to the 80s, but it's still harder to come out in Tennessee than it is in a lot of places. I don't ever want to say like, oh, Vecna forced him or whatever. Vecna didn't out him. Like Will made a choice and a powerful choice, and I don't want to. That part of it, I don't want to like attack at all because I do think like there's things in my life that would have been better if I'd chosen to be myself younger. There's things in my life that, I look back on that because I was covering up who I was, that hurt certain relationships, hurt people, and that's just the reality of when you choose not to be yourself, there's going to be harm in that, collateral or intended or unintended or whatever. And so, yeah, it's a grand scale, but like Will's realizing who he can be if he's himself, and the power that being himself grants him. So I don't really care if it's because he's been at war with Vecna. Like he's found who he is and who he wants to be, and there's something profound in that. And I just would have liked to see more of it.
I know, right?
Some
people complaining it's too long.
It's a beautiful way to look at it.
Right, like it came too late in the season was another thing that I had a beef with. Of like, why couldn't we have had this earlier so we could see him being that a little more and seeing the friends actually living with him as out a little bit more. But I've, by God's grace and dint of luck or whatever you want to call it, my perspective is flawed on it because I've never been put in that position. So I appreciate both you guys sharing with me, and definitely am looking at it from a new point of view. And so I thank you for that. I appreciate it.
I mean, I give them some leeway because the fact that this is episode 7 is the only time everyone's finally together again.
Right.
Like, it took so long to get Max out. Like, there's just so much going on. Like, I think they didn't want to do it without everyone around.
Yeah.
I think that was their plan because the scene was well done. Like, I teared up watching the scene. I thought it was well done, but it just was like, I thought the placing of it was awkward. Like,
we just had like 2 big seasons where everyone was so spread out for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, more so in 4 than any other season. But so I was really hoping that, when we ended off at the end of 4 with them all together, 5 would be a more together season. And that was another like big beef I had with this season. I wish we had started with more of a togetherness. Then maybe people go off on little side quests. And to your point, David, about like, well, they have so many characters. I'm like, I don't know. Sense8 managed to figure it out after they got the opportunity to shoot a finale. So they wrapped up every single storyline, including Disney fairies that we didn't even see since the first fucking episode. Like they're
What
there at the
fairies?
wedding. Like,
right.
So I don't know. To me, I think it's like you can find a way, and the audience loves these characters, even Murray. So they're with you till the end if you choose to take 5 extra minutes and show us.
Everyone loves Murray
You know?
with giant glasses.
I know, right?
But I mean, isn't this like a little bit of like Harry Potter syndrome, where like the books progress and we get to, you know, the Deathly Hallows and it's different. We're not at Hogwarts anymore. Like we don't
Yeah.
get like a lot of the same things that we loved, like them at school kicking around having the kind of casual fun, because they're not at school anymore, because the world's ending, because the military's there. So it just sort of has to go to that place. It's not what we're used to, and maybe it's just not what we want. But like I don't know how they do it much differently.
Well, like, speaking of not what you want, like, it's not that I wanted to see like people, you know, dying left and right, but one criticism that I was looking at, like a YouTuber was saying, you know, essentially everyone had plot armor to the point where it got a little silly, and then only Elle, the main protagonist, dies, and it's like, yeah, you know,
Or does she?
I did expect to lose. Like,
Or doesn't,
we could have
right?
we could have had Murray make a sacrifice. You know, like, only the dad, who was never there anyway, is the Mr. Wheeler is the only one we lose along the way. You know,
Did he
No, he's
die?
fine.
He's alive.
He was at
He's
graduation.
alive.
No, he was.
Yeah,
And you know
he's
what?
alive.
Like he didn't get to boss out like the rest of the Wheelers, but he like had a moment. Like he was ready to fight.
Right.
You know, he hadn't had his bacon that morning, so
yeah, I was
you know.
like, Wheeler, yeah, he's doing shit.
But I will say, let's talk about that specifically then, since you brought it up. Just the final battle was the first hour of the 2-hour finale. A lot of the complaints I saw online was that it was too quick. They got there too fast. They spent too much time on the back end stuff, which didn't bother me quite as much. But what did you think about some of the big criticisms? Like, number one, they brought back the Mind Flayer as like a giant, Godzilla monster. There were no Demogorgons, because apparently, if you listen to the reviews, this is what's been going around a lot. If you listen to the interviews with the Duffer Brothers, they said, well, what happened to the Demogorgons? They're like, well, we felt there was kind of demo fatigue, like too many demos. And like maybe Vecna just kind of forgot. Like he just sort of, like they're pulling a little Danny with the Iron Fleet. Like maybe he just like he didn't think Vecna didn't think anyone would get to him, so he didn't really think he needed that.
I need showrunners, no showrunner ever again to say the word forgot. They're just not allowed to say it.
Right.
Yeah, just let it go. Just please stop. And then the other criticism is like you have this giant monster, which like 11 shows up and she's throwing like fucking like meteorites at this thing, and I'm like, great, like badass. Right. She goes inside and they're like, we have to distract it. Quick, to the hills. And they run to the hills, and I'm like, man, it's going to take them like 30 minutes to climb those cliffs. And the thing is literally chasing them. It's about a 10-second chase, and they're all up at the top of the hills. Mike with his useless flamethrower. Apparently, flame is what this thing is like. That's the kryptonite for this fucking thing. They did a little bit of damage, not much, but the fact that no one bought it, like at all. Like I thought it was really effective how they used Max, because she's paralyzed basically from muscle atrophy, being in a coma for so long, but they still allowed her to take part in a mostly safe way. But like someone, like I don't know who, because I don't want to lose any of these characters, right?
Well, that's the thing.
But, like
that's
someone should have like lost an arm or been killed.
Well, we could have lost Vicky. I kind of expected Jonathan to go.
No, you can't lose Vicky.
Yeah, I did.
Jonathan was so boring.
Yeah, Jonathan's like capitalist cannibal thing. Like, I was like, okay, like, yeah, he probably should have just died.
No, but he and Nancy need to get back together in the future, because they are obviously getting back together in the future. I felt like
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Not according to the Duffer
Brothers. The way they were looking at each other on that rooftop. Come on.
They forgot.
In the interviews, they're asking him all these questions. Like they're like, "What's Murray up to?" Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe he like became a private eye. I don't know. Like
there are important questions and there are not important questions. What's Murray
up
to? I don't mind that they don't have that.
Like one thing we know is that they're definitely not getting back together. I'm like, what?
Murray got arrested for solicitation. Let's be real.
Murray got me
transporting minors across state lines.
Sure. Is it just me, or is the ring that Hopper proposes to Joyce with the same ring that was in the
thought it was
Coltrane?
Smaller.
That would be hilarious if it was, but Also, how about that proposal? I loved that actually because Joyce didn't really have a lot to do this season before she, chopped off.
Can we talk about how Karen Wheeler had a bigger role in this season than Joyce did?
Joyce, I know, right?
Like, that is crazy. And I love Karen Wheeler, nothing against her, but like, she's like an add-on character, and Joyce is the main character, or what's supposed to be. And now it's like
they reduced Winona Ryder to shoulder holding and shaking different children with fear in her eyes. Like,
but she's in it. She's not trying to prevent them from getting in the danger. Like, she's in it with them. Like, she's fully committed. They got fucking firearms and grenades strapped to them. Like, she's not holding them back. Like, she could totally be involved in anything, right? Like, where in some of the past seasons, she's been like, all right, everybody just chill out. So, like, she should have definitely done more. I don't know if it was a scheduling conflict or what, but...
I don't know. I was going to say, like, I think that the whole, extension of the Brenner storyline with the military and all this bullshit, that was too much of the season. And then it renders things like, oh, well, they forgot about the Demogorgons. Did you also forget about the bats that, like, one of the most beloved characters of the show died at the hands of, like, sacrificed himself?
No new monsters.
And there's no fucking mention of it again. It's like, that's so pointless.
Did you know that at one point that they had said that while they were on their way to the final battle, there was supposed to be a bunch of Demogorgon eggs? Do you remember the whole thing in like season 2 where like Dustin had the little fucking worm that became a demo dog? Like, so one of the fucking eggs, they cut it out because I guess they're like, oh, we didn't have time for that. I'm like, did you forget that's not a thing?
So this is the thing, is like, I love Linda Hamill, and I was like, oh cool, she's in here, but we didn't need that.
Linda Hamilton. They wasted her.
Like, they totally wasted her. Friggin' and I feel really bad for the actress that plays Collie, because when she was first on the show, it was a huge criticism, and now that she's come back, it's not much better, and it's like she's one of the only POC characters on the show except for Lucas and his family, and then you render her with like the most useless storyline. That's why I said, and his family. And you represent. No, I said and his family.
Oh,
like his mom too is in there, and he has a dad. But anyway, she's like useless and. Never liked her. I don't need her in there anymore. I
mean, I don't know. Did people not like her when she was originally on? Like, was that?
They did a
weird side plot.
Yeah,
I didn't remember her until this season. I didn't even remember who she was when she popped in and become important this season.
But. Now, that side plot was one thing that annoyed me back then. That grew on me on this rewatch. It was one of those things that I was like, oh, I actually do. I like that better than.
I feel bad how traumatized she must have been. Like, all of her friends getting like headshotted and getting captured.
Like, no kidding. I just don't think they didn't give her enough to like justify bringing her back. They didn't give Dr. K enough to justify her presence there. Yeah, exactly. And honestly, that mid-season finale should have been the end of the military storyline. From there on out, it's the party, and it's the Demogorgons, and it's Vecna, and it's that world. Yep. And then maybe after the military comes back in and it's like, we're here to rescue you. Oh, done. Too late. We did it.
I don't even really mind because the scene where Elle like takes them all out, makes the one dude shoot himself is kind of badass. But I feel like they brought the military back specifically because they wanted to engineer this, like, 11 has to sacrifice herself thing, which we haven't even talked about. Like, if there's one character that should make it through and have a happy life and a family and, like, be away from this, it's 11. And, like, maybe she's in Finland or some shit. Like, maybe. Like, come on.
And we don't even get a scene of, like, many years later, like, a post-credit of, like, many years later and Mike finds her there.
Well, no. I mean, I think... I mean, if we're going all the way to the end, sorry, Kevin, just this one thing, but like the final shot of the show is perfect in my opinion. Like, that is Mike is closing the door on this chapter of his life, which is his childhood. It is the mantle of this storytelling is being taken over by the the next generation of children who aren't so young anymore, but whatever. And like, I felt that was actually very poignant and kind of the perfect grace note to end on. And I was glad that there wasn't a post credits. But honestly, there's so much to say about the ending that like, I think we should save it for a minute.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just a point. Holly is supposed to be 7, but I guess they actually changed it to 10 this season, because the actress is like 15. So so they're not like, I thought like these kids are starting to play D&D, and I'm like, they're almost done with high school, right? Like, no, apparently I think they're still supposed to be like middle school.
Mm-hmm. One thing about the big final battle and the lack of demogorgons, bats, and dogs is I felt I didn't even think about it because I was so engrossed by it. But when afterwards, when everyone was like, "Where are all the demogorgons?" I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." But I thought about it, and one of the things that you could say, and this is probably just making excuses, but I think the idea could be that Will destroyed all the last of the demogorgons in that last scene of the mid season finale. Like he took out the Vecna sent all of them out after the kids, and then he took them all out.
Well, no, but we see them again at
were
the
the other ones
hospital.
that dragged the kids back into the Upside Down. So
I was gonna say
that's
something
true, you're right.
similar, David. Of like, you could say that when they did the whole like 50,000 watt radio tower thing to like use the quantum entanglement to bring the thing back enough to get Will in there, that then when they fried him, because the particles are linked, it fried all the rest of them. Like, you could say that, and then say like Vecna and the Mind Flayer are like a class above them, so they survived.
But at the same time, we shouldn't have to be doing that. They should have told us that. But yeah.
Right, it's like, show don't tell. I mean, they could have given us that, but
or just Mount Doom didn't have guards because
evil beings, it's hard to get to too, right?
Evil beings sometimes think that the heart of their power, their seat of power, is impenetrable. And
but I assume, because we're still unclear what the abyss is, I assume that the Demogorgons and stuff come from there, because they made the Upside Down instead of a different dimension. The Upside Down is just a pass-through area. It's like shaped like a wormhole. Which how are the Russians connected? How does Hopper get to Russia?
I actually hate I don't hate whatever. It's a sci-fi show. They can add dimensions if they want to, but like, to me, there was something so simple and lovely and clean about having a dark undertown underneath your town that's a different dimension. And it worked so well.
By some alien.
Yeah, and you didn't have to explain like, how do you get from here to there? It's just like, or whatever. No, like, no portal. I mean, no portals that aren't just like, okay, you walk through and you're there. Like no wormholes. That's what I mean to say. And like, it seemed also like another symptom of just like, this is too big. It's getting too difficult to hold on to. I mean, I saw the play a couple weeks ago, and like, my God, like the stuff they try and cram into this, and like the amnesia that they give all the main characters because of this, like, whatever.
Oh, so you saw the play?
I saw the play. Yeah, don't recommend
it. Because Henry went to high school with
Henry went to high school.
And everyone went to high school apparently.
Henry was dating Bob Newby's sister. And he and her were the stars of the play that Joyce was directing. I mean, like, literally, it's. I was actually really hoping that play would end with like oh my gosh, and everybody in Hawkins got mind wiped, which is the weakest story thing you could do. But I was like, that would be better than leaving us with this.
Yeah, because their explanation was like, a lot of this season was clearly influenced by the play, because they wrote the play and like with
the scene when Max and Elle run into like the play, like that is in the show, and it's like right before like the major, like the climax of the show. Everybody screams so much in that play. Like, really.
But it also seems they didn't want to put too much stuff, like, because they don't want you to have to see the play, because no one's seen the fucking play. But then they put enough stuff in from the play that kind of enough to confuse you. And if they're setting that up for a sequel or prequel or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. Suffered because they're setting up for other shit, and it's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they asked. Was they said, "Hey, what are we supposed to say about the rock that was in the suitcase?" Someone trying to remember what interview it was I was watching, but they said, what would we take from that? Like, where did that come from? What was that about? Well, we can't say. And they're like, oh, is that like a prequel thing? Like, well, you said it, not
I don't
me,
think so.
like,
I don't feel like it is, but yeah.
It's
so
also
I mean, they're
like
implying
so
that. So
it's so frustrating to me that like the whole time, right? Like, and this is in the play, like Henry in the cave, like something happened to
Right.
Henry in that cave, and then it's like this huge traumatic thing. What is this huge traumatic thing? He murderates a man, and then like is told, "Hey, don't open that suitcase," and does it anyway. Like, it is so clear that this kid is a bad seed. There's just like no back and forth. Like, I don't get why he would
got
have any
shot in the
trauma.
hand, Michal. How dare you?
Okay,
That was
all right,
traumatic.
but like he clearly wasn't that bothered by it.
He got shot in the hand, and like a good Eagle Scout, he defended himself by crushing that man's skull in.
Multiple times, lots of hits, way more than he needed to.
Which like we're supposed to see that like that's his first kill, and it's traumatic, and it's like reactionary, not like he's this evil kid. So I did kind of get that. It's like, but mostly because the actor is like rewatching this, like basically looking back and being like that's kind of when I left myself behind is kind of the image I
Amy
get.
Campbell Bauer does a lot to sell it,
Amazing.
but like I still am just like, okay, so I can understand the kid knocking the scientist guy out. Like, sure, fine, that makes sense. Obviously, he doesn't want to get caught.
Bashing his head in.
Yeah, he continues to bash his head in, and then opens the thing, and it's like, ooh, yes, it's very Tom Riddle, like, or honestly, very Quirrell. Like like he showed me the truth of the universe and humanity, and blah blah blah, and it's like I don't buy that the Mind Flayer is the big bad here. It's clearly Vecna. Like it
would have made more sense if he like talks to the stone or whatever and like gets like the black goo and then like accidentally fucking kills this dude, like, because he's like, wait, what did I just do? Like, that's more traumatizing, right? Like, I mean, it's like a fucking X-Men trope, like, the mutants get their power and accidentally kill their whole family, right? So like that would have been like a better moment instead of like, oh, I just murderized this guy, oh, and then I got these powers too, and that was very traumatizing.
But I think that does fit though, real quick, with what actually happened, which is when Henry says, "No, I wasn't being controlled. We agreed to be partners." So I think that's why they didn't do that, was because the idea is Henry is in control of himself, which is totally the opposite of what you see in the play. In the play, it appears like he's being controlled a lot, but by
I think eventually he comes to that agreement. I don't think he's necessarily on board as a young kid. I mean, because eventually 11 sends him like scarred and like ravaged into the Upside Down, right? So I think eventually he comes to like the whole like we're better together thing, but not necessarily when he's a human in the real world.
Has anyone ever watched The Magicians?
Oh yeah.
No.
So one thing with that show that I felt this season for the first time, you watch The Magicians and it's kind of just like good character stuff going on, but then like they just kind of make magic stuff up to get through each season, and they even kind of like self-reference it by the end, and that show lasts too long. And I just got that feeling with Vecna and the Mind Flayer a lot this season of just like, I don't even care about the explanation anymore. Like, it's just
right. Yeah.
Like, I don't even care about all this. You've added this extra stuff to the Upside Down, and like, I don't like the explanation. I don't give two shits. Like, I just kind of want to like watch Steve and Dustin be mad at each other and know that they'll make up, but it's an entertaining dynamic in the meantime. Like,
well, I think that's why the show still works, and the finale to me, I still really enjoyed it because it didn't cheapen like the rest of the show that I watched, and I got to watch the characters, go on a journey that was fulfilling, and I got to see like, oh look, man, like Steve and Dustin are road tripping, and everybody's getting together in Philadelphia or some shit, and like people are moving on, but they're like, like life is happening. Like, I don't know, for most of the people, it's satisfying. Except for the 11-bit I didn't like, but
Jonathan should have died because of his geography. What's between Indiana, DC, and New York? Louisville. What?
It's really convenient for you to go to Philadelphia, right?
I mean, that's better than Louisville.
Everything's better than Louisville, although I've been there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Gosh.
At least
I
he
mean,
didn't say Louisville.
I mean, West Virginia. I don't know. That's not as fun. Yeah.
Yeah, the answer's Pittsburgh, but who wants?
yeah, I
to
was
go
trying
there?
to do that math in my head. I was like, no, this doesn't make sense. Philly cannot be the closest.
I'd have to look at a map, but like I think the idea that they're like, hey, we haven't seen each other a lot, and we want to actually keep seeing each other, please. That's all that really mattered to me. Like they could have said, let's go to fucking Miami every other month. I don't care, Like I don't know. I just like the fact that they weren't going to be like, we're just going to abandon all this shit. Because I mean, everything they've been through, like you're friends for life or whatever. But like you'd also try to keep up with those people. I think, in my opinion.
It's tough. I mean, I thought that scene was also way too long. But it felt very like that felt like a legitimate, sort of goodbye, and like for a second, like obviously I know that this takes place in the 80s. This is 89, but like I'm like, oh man, they can't like text and Zoom and like there's a lot of horrible stuff in the modern world, including with technology, but like it was a moment where I was like, oh, we can actually stay in touch with people a lot more easily than like you used to be able to.
Yeah, they didn't even have like Facebook or just like the little updates in someone's life that we kind of take for granted now.
Yeah, I'll say when I first joined Facebook, there were probably like 100 people I had had no contact with in over a decade, who I suddenly like had back in my life for like 10 minutes to say like, hey, what's up? Okay, now I have nothing to say to you because if I really wanted to, I probably would have stayed in touch with you.
Yeah. I think in terms of like that goodbye they just had, like, I don't want to put this. When you have something in your life that is so consuming for a while, it's like it goes away and I don't even know, you don't even know what to do, right? Like you don't even know what the next step is. It's like,
yep.
I'm sure on some level there was like depression from all of them of like, I've had such a purpose for such a time and now it's gone. Like what is my life? And there has to be some comfort in like talking to each other about that, because I mean, how many of us have truly like saved the world? How many people have done shit like that? That's just that.
Strangely enough, I was about to go there, but go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm also not a big fan of like the everything resets trope. Like we saved the world, but nobody knows. And it was an earthquake. And like, enough people saw some shit. Like, I don't know, like the world can be a little different, at least for some of them. Maybe no one believes them, right? But like, I don't know.
AI got
like,
invented in that universe.
That, like Max was able to graduate even though she missed 2 years in a coma. But I'm like, she had 18 months. Like they rushed her through. I'm sure it was fine.
She is very smart.
Yeah, like most of high school's wasted. Like that's not really something to get upset about. Like, I thought the graduation scene was pretty good. That was fun.
I'm more upset that she's 2 years into a coma and just has a little bit of oxygen in her nose.
Oh my God, I know. I was like, thank God there aren't any catheters elsewhere. I mean,
and then wasn't somebody was saying like all the conspiracy. I was like looking at this earlier, like because you said that Netflix is announcing something on the 7th, and they think there's going to be like a true finale and all this stuff. Which if somehow that were real, would be like the most fucking insane thing ever on TV. But like like Dustin's new Hellfire Club shirt at one point, like all you can see is like L and like people are taking like numbers and letters, and it's like this next level fucking like QAnon shit that I'm just like, okay, so we have a date. Well, no, it's gonna be January 7th. Like all y'all think this shit is happening. So when that doesn't happen, when's the real finale coming? Like I can't wait to see this go on for 6 months.
I know.
That reminds me not to storm the Capitol tomorrow.
Oh shit! Damn, what day is this? I got to get going.
To Kevin's point, as someone who did go through an incredibly traumatic time in my ACT UP era and all that, it is when it's over, it's just like, what the fuck? What do I do now? You just kind of move on with your life and you don't want to think about it at all again, and that's kind of what I did. So to your point, Kevin, absolutely.
Hey, look at that! A wild Varley has appeared.
Varley,
what up, dudes?
Hey, you want to give your lemon cakes for the season, the finale, or?
Sure. But I liked it. I think they landed the plane. I have complaints, but like they're not enough to bitch about. Like, well done. I just wish they did this like 2 years ago and didn't take the 5-year hiatus.
I mean, fair enough. I think that's kind of the consensus. I liked the finale more than the season, which I also think is kind of the consensus a bit. But we are doing a bit of nitpicking, as I'm sure you heard. So we're going over some of the online complaints and shit and weird shit that didn't make sense. Like a wormhole, usually goes to another place in space and it's another planet or maybe another dimension. We don't know. They don't know. So it's all right.
So sorry, who's the astrophysicist on the call that knows what a wormhole actually is?
Well, I think this is like from the interviews and stuff the Duffer Brothers have been giving the last few days. Like people have been asking them questions, and they're like, "Well, yeah, it's another planet, or but it's another dimension." Like they're just kind of like, I don't know. So
it's a wormhole, man.
It's a wormhole. It's sci-fi
wormhole.
Shit. Yeah. What did you think of the final battle?
I kind of wish it was like a little better. But I saw something on the internet that matched it to oh god damn it. I'm so old I forget shit now. I'll have to get back to you. Cut this out. Jamie, cut this out. No, I think the final battle was fun. It matched to the Creed a Creed video. Anyway, the final battle was
the
fine.
boxing movie.
No, the Christian rock band
with arms wide open.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. They did like super cuts into the final battle scene, and it was very funny.
My second ever concert, Creed.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
My second ever concert was Alanis Morissette at Jones Beach, and Radiohead opened for her.
That's dope.
So,
nice.
Yeah, 96. 95, 96, 96. Anyway, the final battle, I feel like the one where they lit Vecna on fire, maybe that was a prior season. It was so long ago, like seemed more badass with, running up the hill, playing in the background, and like everyone throwing Molotov cocktails and Natalie, shooting him with a shotgun. And it was just a lot more effective. This kind of felt like Wild Wild West, kind of weird.
Giant spider in the third act, or actually, I guess in the second act.
The tree is the spider, and now they're going to fight inside the spider, and that's going to look fine.
I saw also someone do all the influences, and Saddam Hussein died the same way in South Park the movie, like on a very sharp thing. And then they followed that up with Thor cutting off Thanos' head. It's like perfect.
Oh,
I like Joyce's Thor.
Yeah, I mean, like someone had to give the final stroke, and I think that was like maybe a little hard for them to figure out how to handle that. But because like clearly everyone in the room wanted to,
right.
So.
I felt like
that. Sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
I was just going to say that felt like a mic job, but that's all.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing that worked for me about that scene was having like the kind of horrified like catharsis of everyone in the room. Like I felt like that was effective, but ultimately like it's just not that meaningful what Joyce is doing. And the fact is, it's like she hasn't this season or even last season really like gone through anything to help. Like even when Will is like being taken by Vecna, like she's not blaming Vecna, she's blaming herself. Like it doesn't. So I
had she confronted Vecna in any way, like she knew what's going on, but like
so.
I mean, she saw him at the mid-season finale, but that was the first time she saw him, right?
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, Vecna himself, she hadn't seen him or confronted him, or like it was kind of she'd seen him at the mid-season finale, like briefly, right? Or was she knocked out already?
I think she was knocked out.
I don't know, but I know she knows like the Upside Down is real, obviously, and like all these monsters are real. So,
but I think it would have
been
more meaningful if they had brought into like the one bit from the play, the fact that they all went to high school together, and she could have been like, Henry, you piece of shit, like there was a way that you could have, with all the time we had, you could have brought in like, wait, Henry, oh, I remember, like you could have brought something in where they had an issue or they had a beef, or like you're fucking with my children, like I don't know. It wouldn't have been that hard to give her a little more of a vendetta, which not that she needs it, because like this dude's been terrorizing them for 20 years on the show. But just
that's crazy. Like I never thought about it, but if Vecna is looking after 11, that puts like for some reason in my head I thought like Vecna was like Tom Riddle, like 50 years old by the time like he faced like 11, but he was really young in the lab, right? I was like in the 70s or 10 years before.
Well, he's older than I guess we realize, and that's because in the play they show that he went to high school with Hopper and Joyce, but like we don't know that from the show.
Really?
And some of the parents.
Yeah, guys, I don't know if you know this, but like Lucas's dad, one of his many middle names is Lucas, which is fun because it's a callback to Lucas. That's something that happens in the play.
What?
That's nice.
I'm salty about the play and how basically
like multiple middle names.
Yeah, at one point hit the woman who becomes his mother is running after his father.
Do y'all
like, blah 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 Lucas blah blah blah?
He's like Dumbledore.
Do y'all know any Lucases born before 1980?
Sorry, you went robot there for a second, Kevin. Say that again.
Yeah, which was.
Oh, sorry. Do y'all know any Lucases born before 1980? I don't feel like that's an old man.
George Lucas. Heyo. Damn it.
I wish y'all could see my face right now.
Anyway, what is this play that everyone's talking about?
Well, it's called Hamlet, and it has a play within a play. It's by Shakespeare. It's a whole thing. It really insists upon itself.
That doesn't really sound like Stranger Things there, Kevin.
Varley, they did a Cursed Child for Stranger Things. Like literally, like Jack Thorne.
The Cursed Child is a sequel.
Yeah, yes. It's a prequel, not a sequel. It's a prequel. It's called Stranger Things: The First Shadow. It premiered in London and is now in Broadway.
And they've changed it about a million times.
Right. Yeah, they changed huge bits.
It's been for a few years, right?
It just came in America last year, and it was out in England, I think, a year or two ago.
Okay, because there is a documentary on Netflix about it, which I watched like half of that. Of them developing the play. So
is it a musical?
The stagecraft is great.
Like Vecna, get out of the universe.
No, that's not real. That didn't happen.
The Upside Down.
There's a tiny bit of music because Joyce puts on a play that Henry is in, and there's a little bit of music in there, but it's not a musical in any way. It's more, if anything, it's more.
They also do sing Oklahoma every so often because they pretend they're putting on Oklahoma. So
it might have been better if
Oklahoma what the play is?
No, so you know how in one of Max's Vecna memories when she's like going through his mindscape, she gets handed a flyer that says like, Henry Creel as Curly in Oklahoma. So like that is the play that they're referring to, but that's a cover play.
Okay.
Then it turns out they're playing I can't remember what it is, but it's actually a real play. It's about like a woman who was accused of witchcraft and something like that.
Okay. I will say, so one of the more fun fan theories that people, I guess, were upset that didn't happen was like, I think last season they're talking about like during the their D&D game, it's like to defeat Vecna, like they have to roll a 20, and then they don't and all that, right? And so like there's this fan theory was that like it was going to take 11 plus Henry because he's number 1, and then Collie because she's 8, and that would make 20. And the Duffer Brothers were like, oh, that would have been cool. But then we would have had to redeem Henry, so no.
Right. I'm glad that Henry didn't end up ultimately going, yes, you're right, guys. I gotta, I'm glad he wasn't redeemed in the end. Because
the last thing I needed was, I will help you finish it.
Right.
Like this, no. I'm glad that there was that moment where they were like, where Will's like, I feel like let me try to give that moment of redemption, or let me reach out, but he was like, fuck your shit.
Right.
So,
Try, Tom. Try for just one moment of remorse.
yeah, you were born to this shit. I chose it. Like,
by the way,
Right.
we do need to talk about how
Way to
Harry
like
Potter this season is. Like it is just straight up Harry Potter.
Yeah.
he
Like,
didn't
well,
even
it
try
has
to
a
like.
very Deathly Hallows feel to the season. Like, we're not in school anymore. Everybody's spread out. You're hiding from the military. Like there's a lot of similarities there in the basic
Will can
setup.
see into Vecna's mind and communicate through him, and oh my gosh, you're like
Hawkins has
a
fallen.
radio. Yeah, you're like an antenna. Literally a quote from Harry Potter.
What did you guys think about the radio station pivot? Like, was I don't know. He's like smuggling in food, and the radio
was
station
fine.
is just somehow is not being checked out by the military. They're just sort of like, yeah, the radio station's fine.
He encouraged compliance. He encouraged compliance.
Like, I didn't mind it, except for the fact that, again, like the whole military part of the season went on for too fucking long.
I guess because the military was mostly in the Upside Down, right? Like their main research base was there, so they were maybe a little distracted. I don't know if it was like the whole 2 years, but
they should have had a whole nother season of that then, and then had a season 6. My God, like stop introducing
in what
shit in finals.
2035.
Yeah, they would have had to have been more efficient with their filming schedule to do that. I mean, they could have done a Christmas
the kids
special
are all
last
40.
year.
The kids are all 40 in the finale.
They had $500 million.
Sign off.
Bye, Matt. Love you.
Bye.
Yeah, it was great. It was great talking to you for a little bit. Look forward to listening.
Good to hear you.
Yeah, we love you. They had $500 million. The Sense8 season finale, they only got like $3 million to shoot that. $500 fucking million was their budget. So
they had so much money. You're right, and the season looked good.
Done a couple extra episodes. They could have. There's a lot done, and the final battle could have been way ass longer. And one of the ways they could have made it longer is when Will tries to like extend that olive branch of sympathy and be like, "It wasn't you, it wasn't your fault, dude." Hopefully doesn't even try to play it off like, "Yeah, you're right, help me," and then use that as a way to like attack him again. He's just like, "Now fuck off." What
I thought that
hell?
was more true to his character. Like,
I mean, maybe, but it just, you know what I mean? It's like there's so many like missed opportunities, and then other things shoehorned in, that didn't need to be there. So, like I said, it's like it's doing them and enough all at the same time.
Did they just not spend all the money? Is that why they did the theatrical thing? They're like, we can spend some money on that.
I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine that.
Did anyone see it in the theater? Did anyone go to the premiere?
I'm sure they were different. I'm sure that it was like funded completely separately.
Probably. I mean, it's like a promotional thing, and I don't think it cost them that much money necessarily. I mean, it used to be you'd have to get prints out to the theaters. It's all digital now, so they just sort of have to do all that, and the theaters are happy to take concession money. Sort of an olive branch. I think. What was it they said? Like, because with them buying Paramount and stuff, it's like, hey, here's some extra money for y'all.
Right. I feel like the theaters have been angry at Netflix in particular, but all of them for a long time because, let's face it, it's taking their money away. And this was an olive branch. But I also think it kind of helped make the finale an event, which, I mean, let's face it, when was the last time we had a TV event? Or even a movie event? Like, I mean, probably Game of Thrones finale. There's been nothing as big as that. And so it seems like, and I think it worked. I feel like the finale, I mean, everyone at work was talking about it. I work in a restaurant, and like, there were people I didn't even know had ever watched the show who were all like, "Oh, did you see Stranger Things? Oh, I loved it," or "I hated it," or whatever, and feelings were very mixed, I thought, but most people liked it. But
And there was only
in
one.
general,
There was only one theater in Nashville that even showed it. It was down in Opry Mills, and a couple people I worked with went. I had tickets, like because they
I
were,
didn't
you know,
even know it
quote
was
unquote
released in the
free.
theater.
Well, it wasn't obvious, and I looked maybe a week out, and like all the showings were sold out because the tickets were
yeah,
free, but you had to buy like a concession voucher. And some
right,
people like the tickets went up, and they didn't realize you had to click the voucher thing. They couldn't check out. Anyway,
yeah,
they got sold out, so I was only able to get one seat, and it was like in the front row. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go, 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve, and be in the front row. I'm like, I kind of wanted to go. And so I was like, I went to go cancel it. Like I'd gotten home that night. I'm like, it's about to start in 20 minutes. I'll just watch it at home. And they had added a bunch more showings.
right.
So like
Mm.
you could have easily gone. I was like, well, shit.
It's
I didn't
sold
know
out
that.
of it sold out of like 30,000 screenings around the country. They sold out like
Yeah.
overnight. And then they added the more because people were complaining they couldn't get it or they didn't know about it until too late or whatever. So yeah, then they
Yeah.
added.
So I'm kind of bummed. I wish I'd gone because it sounded like fun.
Apparently they took in about 25 to 30 million dollars in one day. I mean, they don't count it as official box office, but it was reported like behind the scenes.
But that's money for the theaters because it's all concession
Right.
money, right? So
Right.
And people probably spent more, right? If you have $10, well, you probably ended up spending 15, 16.
Right, because you're getting popcorn, you got to get a drink, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Dude,
So
I will say because I gotta go, but I will say to final thoughts is I feel like this season suffered from kind of the same thing as like if you've ever seen The 100. What I always tell people is like you can just where the second to last season leaves off, stop watching right there because that's like a perfectly fine ending to the show, and they fuck it all up in the actual final season to set up a backdoor pilot for a spin-off show that then ended up not even fucking happening anyway. And so they trashed their own main show that they made all this money off of and all got famous off of to start a new project that because it was so bad and viewership had dropped off so significantly, they don't even get to do that other project anyway. So please stop doing that. There's no need to do that. And instead of like, we all know the show is coming to an end. And we all know the story's coming to an end, and we are already bought in. We are already along for the ride. So you don't need to continue to ratchet up and ramp up the story. You need to eventually start winding it down, not adding a bunch of new characters and new elements and layers. We should have gone into this knowing the score, maybe a couple surprises, but it was like twist, turn, left, right. Look at this. Oh, Collie's back. All this stuff. Oh, there's kryptonite now. We didn't need any of that shit. We needed more focus on the real characters that we already knew and loved and the story that we fell in love with and solving it once and for all. That's what I
Fucking
think.
tell him,
Anyway,
Hannah.
I love
Fucking tell him.
dropping the
you guys,
mic.
and I really have enjoyed talking about this. I've been so anxious to like, can I talk to somebody about this?
Right.
And
Right.
and
Hannah,
hopefully,
real quick before you go, do you believe or no?
yes, I do believe. I do.
Okay.
I believe.
I believe.
I am a little frustrated. That's all. But
I do think just on that point, like what characters did they introduce? It was mostly the focus on Holly and the kids, right?
yeah, and that's it.
Derek,
I mean, that's what it. But like, they
Yeah,
essentially
Derek,
are reintroducing Holly. It's all that kind of stuff. I mean, even Vicky is getting more screen time. They're not introducing Karen Wheeler, but like you said, like she gets so not necessarily like introducing Karen. It's akin to it because they're
elevating them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Holly had more freaking screen time than 11.
And we never even saw Dustin's Canadian girl.
Me. Yeah.
I was just wondering what happened to her.
Like she's awesome. Yeah, we don't have Susie in the mix.
I mean, like a line about how like they'd stop talking would have been fine, or something.
I think Susie. My strong instinct is that like while Susie would have been very sympathetic to Dustin, like Dustin's grief over Eddie, I think the second he went down like the dark Dustin like road, she would have had very little patience for that. She just doesn't strike me as the type to like, you know.
Yeah.
An acknowledgement of the fact that she was there. We got a flashback of Sean Astin's character, but we don't get anything else about anything else. So again, it just like it was very disjointed and puzzling choices overall. And again, if you're going to be a showrunner of a major, flagship show like this, maybe watch your own show sometimes and maybe care, because we all do. And it's really getting fucking old to have kinds of letdowns and missed opportunities in something that we've bought into. We've bought your merch. We've paid for your pool to get renovated. Come on, guys, just a little bit more give a fuck.
I will say this, like, just as a little devil's advocate, is that I mean, obviously, I think they do care about putting on a good show. Like D&D cared about giving us a good show. Game of Thrones, they just had a different idea what that was. But I think that as the show got on, the Duffer Brothers cared more about giving us the story they intended for these characters, like the emotional dynamics. I think they did very well with most of that this season. I think they had that lined up, and then they were kind of like, all right, like, can someone else figure out like what are we doing? Like, how does this end? Like, I think they mostly wanted to get to the end for the character, and then the rest was like writer's room, kind of off the wall stuff. And some of it worked,
but then it doesn't like it. Yeah, that's what I mean, is like if you're too focused on like one point in the destination, then the journey doesn't make sense to get there, and so it's a lack of payoff.
I don't think they had a lore keeper. It doesn't seem, because for a show that's so big on like, hey guys, we got these Easter eggs. Hey, look what's in the background. Like they did so much over the years, and then like a lot of it, they just were like, oh yeah, that board with all the red string or whatever. Maybe they just took it down between seasons 4 and 5 and forgot about it. Because like a lot of things they didn't go back to.
I think like all shows, and especially like all shows that have child actors who take off, this was a very difficult show to make. I do not think it was easy at any point. And I think that like they were severely interrupted by multiple factors beyond their control. Yeah. And I really think that when you have child actors, like when Millie Bobby Brown is becoming a star, and Ben Wolfhard is in every Stephen King movie, like you come to a point where like they aren't as available as you need them to be. Right. And like, and Sadie Sink is becoming a star. She's doing Broadway, like, and then in addition, you have Winona Ryder to a lesser extent, and to a greater extent David Harbour, who is just not a stable person, and is also off doing his own, like, more important stuff. Like I this is pure speculation on my part. Obviously, maybe everybody loved each other and got along and, whatever. But like, I suspect that some of that was behind some of the jankiness of this season. Because it's just very, very difficult to have a consistent through line, even for yourself, when you are like grappling with all of these other external issues. Like, I mean, I kept laughing at like every Game of Thrones, like D&D would just look older and older and older, and it was like kind of not a surprise, like how it ended from that perspective.
Yeah, well, I mean, they said, hey, we could do 2 or 3 more seasons. Like HBO wants that, and they were just like, we just want to be done. So, and I don't like this. Is a comment, especially with mystery-based shows. Like they don't always like kind of have it planned out, and sometimes they just get tired. Like they get focused on like, I've really enjoyed these characters, and that's what they're writing, and that's where they're going, and like some of the stuff that they were like thought was cool 5 years ago, they're like, I don't know where to go with that, and they just move on.
Yeah, and
back to like George R.R. Martin, he just like has to get it right, and my son just turned 14. And he's not had a new book his entire life. So, if he had just been like, fuck it, I'll move on and just give him something shitty, like, we would have had 6 books by now. But
and also, I like, sorry, I totally lost my train of thought there, but Yeah, look, this is hard. It's especially like Stranger Things was not like, I find it kind of funny how like part of the whole like conformity gate situation is fans being like, they made this show for the general audience, for the mainstream, not for us freaks. And I'm like, this has been the most popular show on Netflix since its like debut, basically, but it wasn't supposed to be. And like, to give the Duffers some amount of grace, like, it's hard to find yourself, like, it's gratifying and there are many, many benefits to it, including financially, but it's hard to find yourself suddenly your little show that you made, you know, and have kids under your wing and whatever. It's difficult when suddenly that's the thing that everyone is talking about and they want answers to every possible thing, and you know, and you add a new character and you don't kill them off, for example. Robin has to be part of everything because everyone loves her, and the cast just keeps growing and growing and growing, and like, you know, you
Right.
find, I can imagine how you can find yourself in.
Well, because originally they were going to kill off Steve, right? And originally Max was supposed to be like a one season thing that like basically just, you know, created like tension between Elle and the boys. And they were like,
and
no,
I
actually she
heard
gets
that they
on
were
really
going to kill
well.
her off at the end of season
Yep.
4, and then change their minds.
So I mean, and again, I think we talked about this. Most of us, I think, have a sense that like they brought it home. Like it's not perfect,
Yeah.
but it's not Lost or Game of Thrones or some of the other endings that retroactively for some people they're like, I'll never watch that show again. Which, you know, I don't really understand that mentality either. But like having seen this finale, like I probably should have rewatched the first 4 seasons before this. But like it was one of those things where I think it's like I've been burned before, and I'm like, do I want to go invest all that much time? And then the finale sucks, and like I don't think the finale sucked. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, most of us gave it a 3.5 to 5, so that's something. So I mean, and I think the general public generally liked it. It does have on IMDb, I think it's gone down to about 7.8 because I think it's partially been the victim of the review bombing from the coming out thing, but because you know that episode of him
it was
coming
higher,
out,
right?
like, it was around 8. It was originally around 8.1, and it's dropped to about 7.8. The coming out episode is like got massively review bombed, like with an extra
There were a lot
like
of people that heard about that
votes.
one.
But
Yeah,
but by
I mean,
both
50,000.
both by homophobic people and also people who were mad that like Mike and Will didn't get together. So it was kind of funny
which
to me.
I thought was weird.
Yes, that's there. That is the other aspect of that. And like that,
Yeah.
like I went down the rabbit hole the last hour before we recorded of like the what do you call it, the conformity gate stuff. I was like, what the hell is going on? Because like I had looked at a few things the day after. I just looked at some quick, like Emergency Awesome, like because he's always just like happy about everything. And I looked at a few other like, all right, let's see what people's with, and I didn't see anything huge. It was the same stuff like, hey, no one died, like the battle's in the middle, like there was a few things. And then I went and looked again, like let me find someone who like really didn't like it, you know, and I found some more nitpicky stuff.
Oh yeah.
But you know, it's those videos that get you in the algorithm. The videos where you're like, the Stranger Things finale fucking sucked, and let me tell you,
Disaster.
because most
It's
of
a
those
disaster.
videos most of them even end with them being like, yeah, but I still kind of liked it. Like some of them are like, oh yeah, this is the worst shit ever, and it ruined the show. But most of them like gripe for 10 minutes and then are like, hey, at the end of the day, it was pretty good. So, you know, but that doesn't get the views.
It's
like, you come on and say that, like you're a shill.
I feel like, at least for me, I have like an adjusted scale for finales. Like I just kind of accept that a lot of shows you like along the way, and the finale doesn't have to be perfect. It just can't be utter shit.
Awful.
You know, that's kind of my take on finales in general. I did a quick, while we were talking about random characters, I did a quick search. I thought that the kid that beat Dustin up this season was the one that peed his pants in season 1. I thought they had brought him back, and it is just a kid who looks a lot like him, in case anyone was wondering about that.
He just has that shit kid look. Fucking shit.
Yeah.
No offense. I will say, look, I mean, like, mystery is easy. Like, reveal is hard. And that's just always been the Like the great mysteries, whether it's a detective novel or like some complex TV show, are the ones where like they get the reveal right and it's satisfying or not at least disappointing. And a lot of times they don't. It's just hard to, especially because writing a story, like I'm not a writer necessarily. Like I understand narrative a bit, but like Michal, maybe you could speak to this more. Like you don't necessarily have your end and your beginning when you start. Like, and
No.
the story takes you in places where you go, actually, I had my end, but like, do I really want to be married to that? Because now I'm here. Does that still fit? Like things go different. So I mean, I have a lot of leeway that I can give someone because I really loved this show for 10 years. And there's a lot of other shows like that. Like I don't understand the people that come up and like we get a competent finale that like is pretty satisfying emotionally. Like whenever there's problems, I get it. But like you're gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater because it's like even Thrones. Like I did not like that last season. I did not like that finale, but I still love that show. And like there are people that won't watch House of the Dragon because of Game of Thrones finale.
Right.
And I don't see that, personally.
Yep. Here's a question. I wonder how much the Duffer Brothers' ideas changed and evolved. I'm sure a lot of them did, but like particularly the main storyline about the do you think they always had Vecna planned, or was that something they added later and changed things?
No, they say that, but no, I don't think that for a second. I was just thinking as Michal talked about like how this show wasn't for everyone, just became for everyone. It really kind of took me back thinking about like 10 years ago. This was so Netflix. I remember when they started making original content about that time, and they made a show called Hemlock Grove that was terrible, that nobody watched. And then they made House of Cards, which was really their first successful one that they retconned. Or not retcon, but they don't really want to talk about that one much anymore. And then this, this was a lot bigger than House of Cards. And this was really like I truly forgotten that this show is really what put original content on streaming on the map. Like
especially for all ages, and not just prestige adult TV.
Yeah, and this was also like I know the 80s nostalgia has been peak the last like 10 to 15 years really, but like this show really like solidified like the last decade of 80s nostalgia that we've got in across popular media.
Yeah.
In the end, I think the show's going to go down as one of the biggest successes in television history. The ratings for this season were apparently very high. It was the busiest day Netflix has ever had, and this was the biggest show on the busiest day they've ever had of watching. So at least on Christmas.
Didn't someone say like the servers briefly crashed or something on New Year's Eve?
All three drops. Apparently they crashed on all three drops, like shortly after they crashed for a lot of people around the world.
Yeah. Wow. So look, I think that there is plenty to criticize. And again, look, I don't know. I find that I feel like I talk about this a lot as far as like people who become victims of their own success, like both deserve like a lot of sympathy, and also it's like, but you're intensely successful and wealthy. So I have mixed feelings about it, but like it's not easy, and I think that there were major flaws in this season. And if I could like buy the Duffers a drink and be like, okay, what happened? Like, I'd be really interested to know, because it's not as good storytelling as it has been. But I agree, it's not the worst finale I've ever seen. Like, I think, as I said, I think the ending scene is absolutely lovely. A lot of the stuff works. I am still a bit confused about like how Hopper handles 11 suicides so well. But I'm happy that he enjoys, like, Joyce deserves to have someone take care of her. God knows,
he's on the Montauk and marriage.
Oh my God, the Montauk thing. Do you guys know what that was a reference to?
Yeah, that's the reference to like the town they based it on. The whole story on.
No, to the first, like, basically Stranger Things kind of stole their idea from this, like, I think short film called Montauk, and like they had to pay the guy a bunch of money. I actually met him once. And now they're just like, go in a Montauk. So it's like kind of there's a lot of chutzpah there. But regardless.
But Montauk is also a real place, I believe.
Yes, it is. Yes.
With that has like a government lab and weird things happen there.
I believe the book owner is near there.
No, I think it's Long Island. It's not upstate.
Yeah.
I think it's closer to me than the book owner.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
Greg?
Fair enough.
Is Greg the book owner? Doesn't he live on Long Island?
Also, congratulations again to him and Casey. But
right, I was just gonna say that was exciting.
Did they move?
Oh well, he's out in the Hamptons, right?
Yeah, they're in the Hamptons. No, they got engaged.
Yeah.
No, I know that, but I thought they moved too.
Oh, I don't know. All I know is that he uses many chains on his books.
So, did people feel, what did they think of the extended hour-long epilogue? I've had a lot of people say, oh, I wish it was shorter so they could have made the big battle longer. I don't feel like they would have changed it. Even if they spent another half hour on the battle, I don't feel like they would have, or frankly should have, cut any of that epilogue. I mean, it was long, but I was really glad to have that time to say goodbye to all the characters, find out what's happening to them, or what hints
I think
may be happening.
In a theater, that is less of an issue because you go to see this and you maybe don't even know how long it's going to be necessarily or what time it is because you're in a theater. At home, like you might hit the pause button and go, "There's still an hour and 20 minutes left," like you get to the end of this fight and you go, "Oh, it must be a fake out. Something else is happening," right? So I think that like the nature of like watching at home on streaming maybe has something to do with that, where like maybe people like kind of didn't believe that was like really the end of it at first. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I like the 45 minutes at the end of Return of the King. Like, fucking sue me. I want to see these characters. It's been a long time. They've all grown up. Watch them grow up.
Yeah, like what's Mayor Hopper's tax policy, right? Like,
exactly. And in terms of him handling Elle's suicide, by the way, my immediate take was he was putting on a brave face for Mike. Like,
right.
I think I would guess there's probably still some. I think we just don't see a quiet moment of him after it happens. But, I think he's finding the happiness he can. And when it comes to Elle, I think in that moment, you're the adult, you're standing from an 18-year-old kid. Like, you're the two people that Elle cared about most. Like, you have to be the adult right there, Like, you have to. You don't have to, but I think in his,
she's alive. I mean,
I like
that's what makes the most sense to me, because he would have known, number one, because Mike, communicated the message that she sent to all of them. Like Hopper would have realized, like, well, how is she supposed to be sending a message, like the kryptonite, all that? Like, I think he would have put that together a lot sooner, and would have realized something probably happened. Or if it's true that it was Kali creating an illusion, well, he was there. He was the only other person there. And like, if he's holding that secret of like, she's getting away and she's going to go live her best life, but like not without me, like that's the only way I see him not like a drunken stupor. And somehow he's chief again. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. But like, to me, that's what makes the most sense, is like, he's in on it kind of, and is like, as the good, father / good soldier, like he's never going to let on. He's moving on with his life, and he just knows she's out there happy somewhere.
And even if it isn't that, I did like the actual, like what he says to Mike, like, hey, how he relates it back to the first loss he had of his first child. I don't want to go that route again. It was horrible and miserable and it ruined my life, and I don't want to do this again, and you shouldn't either. I actually really liked that, even if he did know. I think
that is great advice.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, and I actually, I guess I'm in the like I don't believe category, just because I like it better if it's like frankly, a story that Mike has decided to tell himself. I feel like that's very in tune with the show. I'm not opposed to her being like alive, but I just feel like it's a little bit of a more like it has a little more heft as the ending. Plus, how long could she have? So she's like, I can actually hang out like alive all this time, but just
They can't make it
then
back
I'm
to
gonna
health.
blow up.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, look,
yeah.
a stomach wound it takes a while to die from that usually, honestly. But yeah, like she's like, I'm not gonna make it. I was like, bro, it's a stomach wound. Like, come on, get her out of there. But I think they were like, we don't have time to deal with this, so I don't know. But I just don't like the idea that she kills herself in that way. Like she didn't really go out saving them. Like
No, it's
she
tough.
she didn't like, hey, let me put an end to all of these soldiers here, and then I'm gonna like she just sort of like pieced out kind of and like again she shouldn't have been able to walk away. So like a sacrifice I could understand, but I just it doesn't feel like a sacrifice the way she did it because there was no reason for her to stay behind really.
Yeah,
could
and
have
I
just said
also
all the people that knew about her shit were right there, and she kills them all, and you could have been done with it. But
the whole U.S. government knows about it, and generally, if they want to find you, Ronald Reagan was pretty good at that.
Not a lot of people know specifically about her in the program. I mean, like you could have said, well, all of the research was in the fucking Upside Down. Like these are the people that knew, and like anyone who does know wouldn't be able to piece it together. You have code names, you have redacted files. Like it wouldn't be that hard to say, like, yeah, you're fine, right? Like the scientists are dead. Like the people that really know, like Paul, what's his name? The father guy, and then the other guy, like they're gone. So
right, but they even addressed on the show. They said first there was Brenner, then there was what's her name, Linda Hamilton, and then there will always be another one. So they did address it. Whether you think they did it well, it's another story. But I think they addressed it.
I know, but I think it's such a hopeless perspective, and I think it's like her perspective versus Callie's perspective is like it's weird that like in the end she just goes with that.
It's weird that she kind of lets that be the reality. Like it's not that they're wrong, but it's like, are you going to define your life by the like, well, these people might find me, like it felt a little, I mean, I don't want to be like, it's a bad message because like they don't have to have a good message, whatever. She's a fairly complicated character, but it didn't feel great, I guess, for it to just be like the answer to my existence is death,
She fights tooth and nail for her friends, like, and like for like being a part of like life, basically. And she just sort of suddenly is like, no, it's hopeless and gives up. Especially like her friend's dying wish was like, don't give. I don't know. It's weird.
She could be protecting them too, because as long as she's around, the military will come and invade in their lives, and we see in the epilogue that a year and a half later they haven't. So her not being there does make their lives better. So she does help them.
But again, like realistically, like as soon as she was gone, they should have all been arrested and disappeared, from life forever. So it is weird. Like I said, Hopper just gets to become chief again. This is the part of the finale that, like, to me is just like, I'm not gonna. You're never gonna sell me on this. Like, he's chief again, and people are proposing, and we're fine. I'm like, okay.
And he killed like 100 soldiers.
We're talking about like peak Cold War, like Black Ops America. Yeah, I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
I also, this is like so not a question that's actually important, but they kind of intimated that Dr. K was someone like in volume 1, like when they're fighting, when she and Al are fighting, and I was like, okay, but who is this person? Like, for some reason, I'm weirdly interested in that, even though it's not important, and they don't have to answer it.
Yeah, every question doesn't have to be answered, for sure. But there are some that we wish that they had, I guess.
And we're nerds, of course. We're going to try to answer them. But
yeah, well, leaving mysteries unsolved yeah, it gives you that. Like the thing I hate
Right.
worse than answering the question wrong is like trying to close every mystery. Like, it's like my example is always like you go from The Dark Knight, which was like one of the best superhero movies of all time. You got like the Joker, all that, and then we go to The Dark Knight Rises, and we're like, okay, man, it's been a while. Like he's been up to shit, and you're like, no, he's done nothing the entire time between the movies. You like the only stories you get to know about this person are what I have shown you. Like it takes away from the audience the ability to imagine like something else the character has done when you say, like I get to tell everything to do with this character. I don't like that. Like I like there being room for other stories. Like just like the way they left it is like, oh, she's dead, she's alive. Like there's room for us to like debate that, right? And
Yes.
like that's the way you do it. Like great.
Yep.
Did people like everyone's endings? What did you think of like the different endings for the different characters? Were you happy with it, or did you want something different? Or
Not Murray. Because we don't know.
we don't know. Yeah.
We don't know.
Or more importantly, what about what's his name's whole family? Are they still tied up in the? Are they still tied up in the barn?
Derek
I thought
Turnbow.
it was cute that delightful Derek is now good friends with, like, he's at graduation with Holly's family.
Right?
Like, where's his family? I don't know, man. He doesn't like them anymore. I'm sure he got on their bad side.
Tied up. They're tied up.
Well,
how do you explain that to them? How do you explain that to them?
Well, that's just it. All these people that had like demogorgons like burst through the walls and destroy their houses, and were like, it was an earthquake, But I did like, for almost all of the characters except for 11, I liked the way it ended.
Mm-hmm.
Even like Mike, is kind of sad, but like he becomes a writer. Like they did a good job of giving us like an epilogue that's like maybe like when Mike's giving everyone kind of their stories, it's like maybe that's not actually what happens, but like it's nice that they give us something that we can dream about, we can think about. Maybe this is where the cast went. I liked Hopper and Joyce getting engaged.
Yes, very much.
I'm trying to think like who else they show us.
David, the dark humor part of me when they showed Will at the gay bar. And I was like, no,
right?
Will!
Right?
No!
Right?
It's like, use a rubber, Will! For the love of God!
Okay, well, that's what we're pulling out as the intro.
Exactly. Of course, we're Vok. Of course we're going there.
So this is a world where other dimensions and telekinesis exist. And so maybe this is just a world where AIDS didn't exist. Maybe we'll just say that. Maybe it's just safer. I don't know.
Elle can telekinesis the virus out of people's blood. Like what?
There you go.
Oh man.
And did you all notice that the restaurant that they went to where the engagement happened was the one that Vicky was going to go to? That the two of them.
I did notice that. Yeah.
That was cute.
Great.
I thought that was a nice little touch. Also, did you catch the little reference that not Nancy, what's her name? Shit, sorry. That Robin made, where she says, "and overbearing significant others," hinting that maybe her and Vicky are not having a happy ending.
Yeah, or she's dating someone else. Like,
right?
Who knows?
Which is fine.
I know she's 19. Like that. I'm like, that makes sense to me. Like,
yeah, who stays with their first love forever?
Yeah,
a few, but not most. Yeah, it's kind of like my feelings on the whole Mike and Will thing. It's like I know people were like devastated by it, like not happening, but it's like, you know what percent? Some people just aren't gay, and that's true for people's stories. That like you have a crush on someone, doesn't go there, and not only that, but most crushes, period. How many people's crushes actually end up in like with them together and happy?
Especially like in high school, like
right,
junior high, high school, like even like college romances, a lot of those fizzle out. You never know, but I mean that's all fair.
They also just never intimated that Mike was interested in Will, in any capacity other than as his best friend.
Well, no, he did say that he did say there was someone that he was in. Like, I thought that was clearly him trying to be like he like had a crush on Mike, right? Like
no. It was clear that Will had a crush on Mike.
Right.
It was,
but not the other way around.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes.
I don't think Mike even. I thought they did a good job of Mike being like stupid, oblivious, straight boy.
Did not register at all to him. Yeah,
completely, which makes sense.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, cool, you had a crush, bro."
He's like, "I wonder who that was."
I mean, we do
like-
have to remember that
He was
when
like,
we're
I think
talking
Lucas is pretty hot.
right. I mean, back in like 87, the idea that like anyone might be gay or that even people you know might be gay was completely alien to people. One of the things that made AIDS such a cultural moment was that it forced gay people out of the closet because people didn't realize they knew anyone until someone was in the hospital and dying, you know? I mean,
Well,
I think
and in high school too, like if
awareness.
someone's gay, you're like, oh, don't come in the shower, man. You know,
But
like
no one was out. No one was out in high school in 1987. Like no
Right,
one.
that's
There
what I'm
might be like
saying.
two
Like, if
people in the whole country. No
yeah,
one
if someone
was.
found out, like they you know, it generally wouldn't be
Right.
handled well, you know, by the
But they
the
wouldn't even
people around you.
consider it. I mean, people made, you know, fag jokes and whatever, but like people wouldn't really
Right.
think that people were like it just
They're
wasn't
like,
like a thing.
nobody knows a gay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Anyway,
that's what we were saying earlier. It's like a lot of people back then were like, well, I don't know any gay people, or you know, that they knew
Right.
of.
Which,
So it's-
you know, it's interesting to me that the show, like, is kind of having its cake and eating it too, as far as,
Right.
like, you know, not mentioning AIDS. And, like, obviously,
right.
for us, there's no question that despite the fact that the characters are living at the time in 1987, that they are all going to react like it's 2025, you know?
Right.
And, like, so and they should, because it's, you know,
Right.
well, because
they
we
should,
don't want
you
to be like this cast that we are in, like if one of them
Right.
was like,
A
what,
jerk.
I can't be here, I'm not
Right,
going to
exactly.
fight that
We'd
now.
hate
I'm
them.
out now.
We'd hate them. We'd hate
Yeah,
them
exactly.
now.
And we should.
Back
But
then-
It's also too late in the show. Like you don't
Yes.
really have
Yeah.
time to like have somebody come around, which that could have been powerful if it happened
Right.
earlier.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that, you know, that would have been fair to the times and like
Because a couple
It's not
seasons
too-
before, that's probably what would have happened, right, Kevin?
Right.
Like Dusty
Yeah.
or Mike or somebody would have been like, "Whoa, I don't know if I can like sit
I
next
think
to you
probably
anymore."
more Mike, not Dustin. Dustin's mom is like a communist, so.
yeah. Okay, y'all, I gotta bounce.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna head out
we should
too.
probably
but-
wrap up. So, do we have any final thoughts or anything that we want to give? Anything we didn't mention? Are we going to be here in a few days when the real finale drops?
I know, right? Well, there is still a documentary coming out next week. There's a documentary of the making of that they're going to release next week. Then there's one definite spin-off and one potential. We have the cartoon set between, I think it's seasons 2 or 3 or 3 and 4.
Yeah,
We have a
1985.
Oh
cartoon,
wow!
right? And then
Yeah.
there's talk of another spin-off possibly happening, but who knows?
Huh.
But I don't think the show was setting up any spin-offs at all. I don't think so.
Yep. Bye, y'all. I really gotta go right now. See y'all.
Yep.
Bye, Kevin. Good
Bye-
to talk
bye,
to you.
y'all.
Bye.
All right. Well, like I said, we'll leave it there. Back in the right side up for once, and it's been great chatting with you guys. Yeah. So I mean, 2026. Hopefully, we're gonna do more. What'd you say?
I was say you have to give the big goodbye to the podcast, but let's also not forget that we will all be back, I'm sure, as soon as Night of the Seven Kingdoms happens.
We will be doing
Woohoo.
that
Lots of
soon.
podcasts, probably weekly.
We
if not
also just recorded kind of a 2025 wrap up. Just with some recommendations and catch up. That'll be coming out soon too.
Cool.
So more VOC for your ears in 2026, hopefully than we've had recently. But anyway, it was good. Yeah, it was good. So we'll see you guys for the finale.
All right.
I know, right? I know, right? Great talking to
real
you guys.
finale.
I missed y'all.
All right. Bye, guys. Good night.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Missed y'all.
Thank you.